We've seen the devastation of a deadly storm. We've watched homes and people's livelihoods swallowed up in the aftermath of floods and mudslides. We cannot forget the faces of these families overcome by Hurricane Mitch, because the scars from this storm are still visible today. And we also cannot forget the caring doctors and nurses from the Pacific Northwest, volunteers who risked their own safety to save the lives of people in need.
He could have general infection into his body.
1 year later, recovery efforts for this disaster continue at a camp for displaced people in Choluteca, Honduras. It's hard to imagine people living under these conditions for so long, but when floods from Mitch destroyed their homes, these people were left with no resources to rebuild. And so they live in these bleak conditions with no running water and no toilet. They hope for their name to be the next in the long waiting list for home construction. Some will have to wait for months. It is in this camp that we find Dr. Patrick Huff of Northwest Medical Teams.
Ayuda con frijoles y maíz y...
No.
He is visiting this site today to follow up on a patient, one of the first patients he treated a year ago after Hurricane Mitch. It was then that Dr. Huff met a desperate woman carrying her feverish grandson in her arms. Diagnosed with malaria and dehydration, Freddie Ramirez had only 1 day to live. But thanks to the medical treatment performed by Dr. Huff a year ago, we find Freddie alive today, content in his mother's arms. Dr. Huff discovers that Freddie's family has lived in this camp now for over 9 months. The family lost their home when the Choluteca River swelled beyond its banks, swallowing up their entire neighborhood. Now, home is a flimsy structure made of tarps and plastic which houses 9 people. They are one of the hundreds of families on the long waiting list for home construction. Freddie has long since recovered from his bout with malaria and dehydration, but Dr. Huff is concerned about new symptoms he discovers in his medical exam.
The parasites just keep knocking him down. They require too much of his nutrition. They just rob his vitality.
Even Freddie's mother is concerned over her son's long-term medical problems. Though Freddie appears active today, he suffers from recurring health complications.
He just came out of the hospital 2 weeks ago. Nothing they do for him seems to help. I've decided to give the boy to God. If he survives, it will be God's will.
But Dr. Huff believes that Freddie's chances for full recovery are very strong with proper medication.
We'll take him back medicine this afternoon, and there's really a good chance that that's the thing that's been missing in his treatment over the last few months at least, because he's gotten fluids, he's got hospital care, he's got antibiotics, but he hasn't been treated for his parasites.
Freddie is just one of the thousands of storm victims cared for by volunteers with Northwest Medical Teams. After Hurricane Mitch struck Central America, volunteers treated more than 69,000 people for injuries and disease resulting from that storm. Because crops, roads, and water systems were washed away, teams developed long-term recovery programs for over 50 villages. Water systems, health clinics, and homes were reconstructed. Thousands of pounds of seed and food were distributed. Though it may still take years for Honduras to fully recover from Mitch, Northwest Medical Teams believes they can make a difference, one village, one family, one child at a time.